All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. We're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. We're also brought to you by Claw Daddy Arcades. They're a great follow on Instagram at claw_daddy_arcades to find a location near you. They got a brand new location in Capitola Mall, another brand new location in Visalia Mall. Once again, they're a great follow on Instagram at claw_daddy_arcades to find a location near you. We're also brought to you by LearnKey Upskill Academy. More from them in just a second. But today, we're going to discuss an interesting article that our friend Kyle Madsen wrote for Niners Wire. And he basically said it's a make or break season and a make or break training camp for these 49ers. So he lists 6 guys. I agree with 5. I disagree with 1. And I think there's really way more than 6. Way more than 6. I mean, if this article was going to be done right, it should include 20 names. So let's go through his 6, and then we'll go through the real list of guys who are in a make it or break it situation for the 49ers going into this camp. All right, so Madsen goes into, which 49ers, who's in the make it or break it mode this year. And he's got 6 guys, and I agree, as I said, with 5 of them. Number 1 on his list is Robert Beal. And there's no question. I mean, come on. Robert Beal hasn't done anything. He was a 2023 fifth-round pick. He's played 203 total snaps in his career, 90 pass rushing snaps, and he's got 5 pressures and 1 sack. He's big, strong, and fast, and doesn't get anything done. The old expression, looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. That's Robert Beal Jr. He looks awesome. I mean, he walks through the door, incredible. You watch him work out, amazing. And then it just doesn't happen. So you don't get forever in the NFL. He plays a premium position, but they have other guys, including Teron Jackson. And if Beal doesn't show up and produce this summer, he's, as Hawk Harrelson would say, he gone. All right, let's get to number 2 on Madsen's list. He's got Jacob Cowing. And I kind of agree. I mean, even though Cowing was a really good college player, and the Niners have injuries at wide receiver, there's too many good receivers walking around in all these other camps. And if Jacob Cowing doesn't play consistently well, he's cut. He's cut. He's only played 106 total snaps. 50 of them came in the regular season finale. He caught 4 of his 6 targets for 80 yards. He's basically a special teamer at this point, but he's looked a lot better. He's gotten from about 170 pounds. My guess is he weighs about 180 pounds now, and he looks stronger. He looks more sudden, more explosive. He looks really good. But I agree with Madsen. Make or break year for Cowing. Just not because the Niners have guys who can take his job, but there's just too many good players at his position around the league. And if he doesn't play well, the Niners will just take one of them. So Cowing, absolutely make or break. He's got D. Winters down here as a make or break, and I agree. D. Winters, has looked the part. He just can't get on the field. I thought Nick Sorensen did D. Winters a disservice last year, sitting him behind, just a horrible linebacker in Devondre Campbell. For what reason? I mean, Devondre Campbell was horrible. Absolutely horrible. Couldn't move at all. No lateral agility to speak of. It actually is kind of a rip on D. Winters. If D. Winters couldn't beat out Devondre Campbell, how good's D. Winters? So this is absolutely. Now you got Nick Martin there. You got some other linebackers, Chaz Surratt, Stone Blanton. If D. Winters doesn't play, D. Winters is gone. All right, Jair Brown. Jair Brown was the Niners' top pick in the 2023 draft. They took him in the 3rd round. He looked good as a rookie, backslid a little bit last year. I really like him. I know they do as well. He's very well thought of among the defensive players, but you don't get forever in the NFL. So I would say, I wouldn't say it's now or never for Jair, because I think Jair's going to make the team. But it might be a make or break season to decide if he is anything more than a backup. This is the year we decide if he's a starter or if he's a backup. I don't think it's a camp where it's like, do you make it, do you not? I think he's going to make it. I'd be very shocked if he didn't make it. But is he a backup? Is he a situational player? Is he a special team player? Is he your third safety? Is he your fourth safety? Or can he be a starter? Can he be a very good starter? So make or break, maybe a little on the melodramatic side for Jaire because I don't see them cutting him. But it's fair. I think it's a fair label. Jake Moody, no doubt. Jake Moody was a third-round draft choice. They took him in the top 100 picks as a kicker, and he struggled mightily after he came back from the ankle injury last year. They added the veteran Greg Joseph to their offseason roster, and if Moody doesn't outkick Joseph, he's gone. So I agree with Jake Moody. He's definitely in a make-or-break year. The last one on the list is the one I'm going to disagree with. He's got Yetur Gross-Matos as a make-or-break 49er. And the Niners signed him to a 2-year deal last offseason. He suffered a knee injury in the preseason opener. Really hampered him all year. He was a second-round pick by Carolina once upon a time in 2020. He's an enormous talent. He really has the perfect body for the defensive end role. And I guess if he really struggles throughout the preseason, the Niners could look to cut ties with him. But you know what? Defensive ends and pass rush in football is like starting pitching or pitching overall in baseball. You just don't get rid of guys who can do the job. You just don't, because you're just going to need them all. So I don't think Yetur Gross-Matos is under the gun. Now, there's a financial element. If the Niners cut ties with Yetur Gross-Matos, they'll save $4.8 million against the cap this season, and the cap is always a consideration. But I think Yetur Gross-Matos is a little bit better than Niner fans think. I think if all you do is watch Niner football and you never really watch Yetur Gross-Matos until last year, then you could be one of these people that's like, it's do or die, make or break. But you know what? The guy had a whole career before that, and he's shown more than glimpses, which is why the Niners acquired him in the first place. And I know Lynch is a big fan of his, and I know there's a lot of guys on that defense that think highly of Yetur Gross-Matos. So I'll say Madsen got 5 of them right, and this one he got wrong. I don't think Yetur Gross-Matos is in a make or break situation. I think he's the Niners are going to keep 5 defensive ends, right? They're going to keep 10 defensive linemen. They're going to keep 5 defensive ends. Those 5 are going to be Nick Bosa, Mikael Williams, Bryce Huff for sure, Yetur Gross-Matos, and Sam Aquinu. And I would say, everybody else, Teron Jackson, Robert Beal, Jonathan Garvin, probably on the outside looking in. If there's an injury, maybe Teron Jackson could get in there because I like Jackson quite a bit. I think he's got some pass rush to him. But I think Yetur Gross-Matos is on the roster. I think it's Bosa would be your 1, Huff would be your 2, Mikael would be your 3. I would say Gross-Matos would be your 4. And then after that, it's probably Sam Aquinu would be your 5. With Robert Beal and Teron Jackson battling for, possibly a roster spot if there's an injury. So that's how I see the defensive end spot. Okay, so that's Niner noise. That's Niner noise. They got 6 guys that they think are in make or break years. I agree with 5. I don't agree with 1. But to me, there's far, far more guys in make or break situations than those 6 guys. I have 20 guys that are in make or break type situations. If Tanner Mordecai plays really badly, I don't think he's going to make the roster. If Mac Jones loses his job to Tanner Mordecai, I'd be shocked if Mac Jones is on the roster. The 49ers are not going to keep a $5 million number 3 quarterback. So if Mac Jones is either going to make the roster as the number 2 quarterback, but if Tanner Mordecai beats him out, Mac Jones is going to be cut, or Mac Jones is going to be traded. Mac Jones is not going to be sitting here on the roster making $5 million to be the third string quarterback. So that one right there, it is absolutely make or break for both Mordecai and Jones. Now, Jones could play decently and be the 2, and Mordecai could play decently and be the 3. But if either guy plays poorly, or if Mordecai beats out Jones, Jones is not going to be on the team. If Jones beats out Mordecai and Mordecai doesn't play particularly well, then there's a chance that Mordecai won't be on the team. So it's make or break. Curtis Rourke, his position's set. They like him. They're going to redshirt. They're going to redshirt him. Give him a year to kind of rehabilitate his leg and get right for 2026. So he's there. Brock's obviously there. 265 million reasons why he's there. But Mordecai and Mac Jones, absolutely make or break for those guys. All right, at running back, I would say it's absolutely a make or break year for Izzy Abanikanda. I mean, you look at that running back depth chart, you got CMC, you've got multiple rookies, you got Garendo in year 2, Patrick Taylor, who's a special teamer, who's done a nice job. You got Juszczyk. Izzy Abanikanda, once upon a time was pretty highly thought of. Guy, 220 pounds, runs in the 4.3s, had like a 20 touchdown campaign at Pittsburgh in the ACC in college. He's a big time talent for sure. But it's now or never. You don't get forever in the NFL. He had a major injury with the Jets. He's rehabilitated it. He's now on a different team. But it's either Izzy's going to show out and somebody else is going to get squeezed off this roster, or this is it for Izzy. And this might be his last real go at the NFL. So, no doubt, it's make or break for Izzy Abanikanda. At tight end, let's move to tight end. George Kittle and Luke Farrell are on the team. But it's make or break for the rest of the guys. And I would say the only guy I'll list here is Mason Pline, because the Niners gave Mason Pline a redshirt year last year. You don't get that a lot in the NFL. You just don't. Teams don't give players a year to adjust to the league often. So that was already a gift. Mason Pline was given a year on the practice squad to try to transition from basketball player and good student to NFL tight end. And if he shows up this summer and plays the way I think he's going to play, he's going to get that third tight end job. But if he looks like a basketball player, he's out. And, he might get a look-see somewhere else, but it won't be nearly as long of a look-see as he got here. So it's make or break for Mason Pline. You got the redshirt year. It's also make or break for Braden Willis, who was a 7th-round pick, but in 2023 he hasn't done anything. Jake Tongas and Ross Dwelly. It's make or break for all these guys, really. But I would say Pline is the guy that I think it's really make or break for, because I don't really think the other guys can really make it. I mean, they might be able to make a roster, but they're not going to make an impact. Where Pline might have an NFL career. He actually might really make it in the NFL. That's how talented he is. So I would say it's make or break for Pline, but you could make an argument it's make or break for every tight end not named Kittle or Luke Farrell. On the offensive line, it is absolutely make or break for Ben Bartch. Ben Bartch has to prove that he can stay healthy. He's now got an opportunity. He was in Jacksonville. Finally got an opportunity to get out of there and come here. Chris Forster likes him quite a bit, but he can't play more than 3 or 4 games without getting hurt. So it's do or die for Ben Bartch. It's do or die for Spencer Burford. He was a 4th-round pick in 2022. He's yet to establish himself. It's 2025. So it's make or break for Burford. It's make or break for Andre Dillard, who was a 1st-round pick a few years ago, a couple organizations ago. He's got to play well or he's cut. I think it's make or break for Nick Sakel. You're Brock Purdy's good buddy. You played a little center. You played a little guard. We're not really sure where you fit best. Sounds like he's going to get more run at guard than at center. It's time for him to, stand up on his own 2 feet and not be Brock Purdy's buddy, but just make the roster. And if he does, he could have an NFL career. And if he doesn't, he could be out of football before we even reach Halloween. So make or break for Bartch, for Burford, for Nick Sakel, for Andre Dillard on that offensive line. It's make or break for a number of receivers. Jacob Cowing, yes, but it's also make or break for Ricky Pearsall. Ricky Pearsall was a 1st-round draft choice, and he didn't do much as a rookie. Now, there were circumstances that we all are aware of. But this is it. I mean, this is his opportunity. He's had a full year to get ready, and if he shows out, he's going to have a big time NFL career. And if he doesn't, he's going to be listed in that bust category until proven otherwise. So there's no question. Pearsall, make or break. Cowing, make or break. Another guy who's make or break is Tariq Owens. You know, you're Terrell Owens' kid, and for that reason, the Niners gave you a look. You've got some athleticism because you have good genes. Even though you don't know how to play receiver, the Niners are like, hey, we'll invest a year or two in teaching you how to play receiver. We think it's worth it. All right. Well, you've had that, and now it's go time. And if he's either going to show something in camp and in the preseason, and he's going to have an NFL career and be an NFL player, but if he doesn't show anything, he's not even going to get a tryout. So, I mean, the Niners were the team that had T.O. The Niners were the team that drafted T.O. So the Niners were going to be willing to give T.O.'s son a go. But if it doesn't happen this summer, and if he doesn't show anything in the preseason, I don't even think he'll get a tryout anywhere else. He's just not good enough. He's not big enough. He doesn't have a good enough track record. He didn't have a good enough college career. So it's make or break. It's absolutely make or break. It's make or break for Pearsall, for Cowing, and Tariq Owens. I agree with Madsen. It's make or break for Jake Moody. No question about that. On the Niner D-line, it's make or break for Robert Beal. I agree with that, but it's also make or break for Kalia Davis. You know, why is Kalia Davis in a make or break situation? Because the Niners drafted defensive tackle Alfred Collins, defensive tackle CJ West. And then they brought in Sebastian Valdez, who really looks good. And you got Evan Anderson in year 2. The arrow's pointing up on him. And you got a couple other veterans there in front of you in Jordan Elliott and Kevin Givens, who have proven to be more durable. So Kalia Davis is going to have to really play incredible football to make this football team. He is absolutely in a make or break situation. At linebacker, you know, it's time for D. Winters to surface. He was a 2023 6th-round pick. It's also time for Jalen Graham. It's now or never. And I hate to say it, Curtis Robinson, but he had a great camp last year, and it looked like he was going to be a significant player, and then he blew out the Achilles. So you got Curtis Robinson, Jalen Graham, and D. Winters, all three of those guys. It is now or it is never. And then at safety, I would say, you know, Jair Brown, even though I do think he'll probably get another opportunity. I don't think it's – I think he can make his career. I don't know if he can break it altogether this summer. So he's kind of – I'm a little on the border with that one too, because I think Jair is not going to get cut. He's too good of a player to get cut. George Odom, on the other hand, may get cut. You have Brown, Mustafa, Richie Grant, Jason Pinnock. You're probably going to keep 4 safeties. You also drafted Marquise Siegel, who runs in the 4-3s. Jalen Mahoney's there as well. And you got George Odom, who's not really much of a player from a scrimmage, but he's a pretty good special teamer. Can you keep a special teamer only when you don't know who your free and strong safeties are going to be from scrimmage? I think that special teamer might be a luxury. Now, Odom's owed $3.5 million, so it's going to be a big financial decision if they decide to cut him loose. But if these other safeties play well, if Jair Brown plays great, but so does Richie Grant, and so does Jason Pinnock, and Marquise Siegel flashes some major talent in the preseason, and you think he's not going to get through waivers, they may cut George Odom. You know, they may cut George Odom just because him, with his $3.2 million contract and his inability to play from scrimmage worth much, that he's probably not going to get claimed through waivers, where Marquise Siegel, a 4.37 guy who can cover at safety and hit, is definitely going to get cut, definitely going to get picked up off waivers if he shows anything. So I would say George Odom and Jair Brown would be the safeties that would probably be under the gun in a make it or break it situation. And then at corner, the Niners have a very interesting situation here. They need 6 corners, 5 or 6 corners, and you really have 3 good ones, right? You got Renardo Green, and you got Diamador Lenore, and you got the rookie Upton Stout, who they think is pretty good. So they're gonna have to find 3 more out of the other group. And Darrell Luter is in a make it or break it situation. He's got range, he's got size, he's got the ability to play press man. He was a 5th-round pick in the 2023 draft, but it's now 2025. And it's time for Darrell Luter to step it up. If he plays great, he could start. If he plays good, he could easily make the team and should. But if he doesn't play well, if he doesn't look good, if he has some, if he has some rough moments in the preseason, this could be it. This could be it. Now, I will say this: Darrell Luter is young enough and healthy enough, and has great length and athleticism and man-to-man cover skills. So if they do cut him, he's going to get a look somewhere else. So it's not make or break for his entire NFL career, but it is absolutely make it or break it for his 49er career. So there you go. The make it or break it players as we approach training camp this summer. All those guys are, they could absolutely be huge and establish themselves and onward and upward, and great things are lie ahead. Or this could be the end of the line for most of these guys, and they could be looking for a new profession before we even reach the holidays. All right, we are also brought to you by LearnKey Upskill Academy, which is an online learning platform designed to get you job ready in 6 months or less. Whether you're interested in IT, cybersecurity, marketing, or another high-demand field, they offer over 30 certification programs to help you take that next step in your career. So, love this company. They've been in business for 37 years. They've helped over 200,000 students along the way. They place about 100 students every month in well-paying jobs. So the link's in the description below. Thanks to LearnKey Upskill Academy for sponsoring this video. Thanks to Clawdaddy Arcades and Pig in a Pickle for sponsoring us as well. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.